This is NFL Live for Week 1. Here's your host, Jim Lampley.
And along with former Bears coach Mike Ditka, who joins us in the studio this year on NFL Live. Mike, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Jim.
So happy that you could dress up for the occasion today.
Well, I chased the guy 3 blocks, but I caught him.
Trying to bring us a little class. And for those of you who have not followed the illustrious coaching career of Mike Ditka, we thought we'd bring you a quick sampling of the kind of behavior that has made Iron Mike an American cult icon.
I know what my methods are, and sometimes they're not perfect. I could go back to going out and grab the guy, choke him, scourge him at the cross.
Man, this is what it's all about. I mean, people are getting snot knocked out of them out there. This is a good football game, boy.
See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Quack, quack.
Then I'd rather talk to him.
Shut up.
You recognize that man?
That guy was under tremendous stress. That's not me.
No, he will be here every week. I promise you, I guarantee you we're going to find him. In addition to Mike, of course, there are plenty of other people in new surroundings today in the NFL, none having gotten more attention than Joe Montana, who debuts for the Kansas City Chiefs today in Tampa. For a report, let's head to Tampa now and bring in our John Dockery. What's up, Doc?
I'll tell you what's up, Jim. It's no ordinary day in Tampa because this is no ordinary Joe. The media crunch has been on for weeks, and I can attest to it firsthand. When Joe Montana arrived 2 hours before the game, I tried to interview him, and he drew a crowd. There was a media frenzy. It was like a feeding frenzy. Joe declined to be interviewed, but amidst it all, I was amazed of the calm, the control, the focus that Joe Montana exhibited. And though he declined to be interviewed, his coach, Marty Scheimer, answered my question if Joe was everything I expected him to be.
Yes, he's what I expected, and frankly, athletically, a little better than I expected, John. The one thing that I think has been most remarkable about him is, despite his age, he's still a very good, quick athlete.
Speaking of another very good, quick athlete, the Chiefs got a break when their all-pro defensive end Neil Smith signed yesterday. He'll play today. He's in uniform, and he'll be used in special pass rush situations. Jim, it's hot here in Tampa. Joe Montana makes it even hotter. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, John Dockery, and you will hear what Mike Ditka and others have to say about Montana in our second segment. Another NFC figure who's won a few Super Bowls and is now in the AFC is Bill Parcells, coaching his first regular season game today for the Patriots on the road in Buffalo. Parcells not particularly impressed with his defense so far, but he does like his quarterback, #1 pick in this year's draft, Drew Bledsoe. The rookie will start for Parcells today, and so far he has thoroughly impressed the head coach.
Anytime you can rectify your quarterback situation, or at least get it in a position where you think it might be stable for a while, that is a big step for your franchise. And I think when you see Drew Bledsoe, you'll be convinced that this young man has the ability to be a very good quarterback in this league.
Mike, what's in store for Bledsoe and Parcells this fall?
I think it's going to be a great relationship, and I think Bill's going to try to keep it simple, try to stay out of the 3rd and long. He's going to let him throw the ball because the kid's got a great arm, but there'll be the kind of passes that shouldn't get him in too much trouble. He's got to depend on his defense to help him, and if he doesn't get behind so much, they have to throw it every down. I think he's going to be a good football player, like Bill says, but it might take a little longer 1 year.
On the other side of the field, the recent history of the Buffalo Bills. Good because it connotes a form of success, bad because they are Super Bowl losers.
Well, they're a success, so I don't care. You know, you can't measure the last game as everything. I mean, their record over the last 3 or 4 years has been outstanding. Good organization, a good staff. They're going to win the big one of these days, and when they do, they'll go down as one of the best teams in history.
All right, and before we leave the subject of Bill Parcells, he is, as all of you know, an alumnus of this program and has some words of wisdom for Mike Ditka.
Mike, what you're doing right now is a hell of a lot easier than what I'm doing, I promise you. I knew you already knew that, though.
What does that tell you?
That makes me a lot smarter than him. He got out of this business to get into that business, and I reversed it. I mean, I'm a little smarter than him.
And a nation waits now to see how long you stay this smart. Another of our early games today, Miami at Indianapolis. The Colts starting quarterback, not Jeff George, but rather Jack Trudeau. George missed all but the final week of the preseason, demanding a trade, charging he has been unfairly treated by Colt fans and media. For more on Jeff George, let's go to Dan Hampton now at the Hoosier Dome. Dan.
Well, Jim, Jack Trudeau has been named the starter, and when he's healthy, he's played well, and he'll keep the job as long as he does play well. Now, as far as what effect the Jeff George holdout temper tantrum has on this team, I think it's given the team more of a resolve to play together as a team. And their attitude towards Jeff George so far since he's been back is, hey, stay out of our way. If you're not with us, just don't get in our way. We want to win as a team, and I believe they will.
Give me a tip on spending an entire football season here with Mike Ditka.
Well, I don't know about how your season's going to go. I know how my seasons used to go, but I would like to welcome Coach Ditka. And, hey, Coach, listen, Miami's in town with a very explosive offense, something you're not very familiar with. Stick around. You'll learn something.
Pretty good, Dan. They also got some good defensive tackles who don't have to jump up in the air to knock the ball down.
All right, thanks very much to Dan Hampton. Mike and I will be back in a few minutes, and we'll be joined by the Juice as NFL Live continues.
Next on NFL Live, OJ will be talking to me.
NFL Live is brought to you by Charles Schwab & Company, helping investors help themselves. By Lennox, when quality gas heating is a must be a Lennox. And by new Old Spice Sensitive. It's alcohol-free to take the heat out of aftershave.
The NFL 15 years ago, and the guy he backed up in San Francisco was Steve DeBerg. As Montana grew into a Hall of Famer, DeBerg became a journeyman, but today, with 30 years of NFL experience between them, Montana and DeBerg are the starting quarterbacks for the Chiefs and the Bucs in Tampa. Now, another player who played with both Montana and DeBerg in those early years in San Francisco was our own O.J. Simpson. And Juice, I know you spent some time earlier this week with your old buddy Joe Montana.
That's right, Jim. You know, everyone who follows football knows that Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls for the 49ers. He's considered among the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think he's the best. Well, Joe has taken his show on the road to Kansas City. He's an old soldier who just doesn't want the good times to end.
Listen, old soldier, 'cause time doesn't wait. The moon's on your shoulder, the hour a little late. There's something there inside you, still calls out to you, and you won't fade away, whatever you do. You're forever beginning, barely winning the fight. And you feel just like an old soldier now.
You're 37 years old. Is the fire still there? I mean, is it as strong as it was 10 years ago?
If I had played those 2 years, it probably wouldn't be. But now it is, because I feel like I've missed it. I've had to sit on the sideline and watch it, and now I'm ready to get back at it again.
You brought me a wheelchair once in San Francisco, and I got to admit, with my knees and all, I felt like an old man, and it's kind of funny. Do you feel like an old guy?
I look around, when you start feeling old, you start asking some of the younger guys, they start talking about when I first came in the league, what grade they were in. You know, and it's getting pretty close to first and second grade, so it scares you a little bit.
You're not getting any younger, that much is true now. But you still got that hunger burning in you now. So what do you do now?
Marcus Allen was amazed at how many plays are in this offense, and he says the advantage is that Joe knows it, but a disadvantage is you know it so well that in the heat of battle, you may revert to something you know will work, but the team hasn't really gotten to that point in that offense.
I did that last week.
What happened? Tell me about it.
Well, I audibled to just a quick out, and instead of having one guy run it, I wanted the other guy to run it. We were in slot, and so I audibled like I would do in San Francisco and told the guy what to do in the audible, and they both stood up and looked at me like this, and one of them, JJ, goes like this, and they go, we got on site, he goes, hey, what were you doing out there? And I said, well, I was trying to get Willie to run the quick out, and he goes, well, we hadn't talked about that yet. I said, God.
Listen, old soldier, to the sound in your ears of too many battles for too many years. victory is sweet.
The best way to explain the feeling of why a person comes back and tries to hang on as long as you possibly can is, I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. It's something that I enjoy doing. If you go to someone and ask them what they really like, and then say, okay, I'm going to take that away from you, like you now. Say, I told you you can't play golf anymore.
No, you can't.
I mean, if you take something like that away from somebody, and so you can't have it anymore, then of course you're going to go, okay, if in a week you can't play golf, you're going to play every day, as many times as you can play. And that's the same type of feeling that an athlete has, is that your career is going to end. It's going to end. I've been very fortunate to make it last this long, so I like to. There was an old friend of mine said, got to find a way to stay on scholarship.
Just like an old soldier tonight.
Well, Juice, you gave him a great piece of advice. He is still on scholarship. What about the Chiefs' judgment in going with Joe?
Jim, I think it was a great investment, not only for his ability on the football field, but normally it takes 2 years to digest this offense. No one knows it better than Joe, and the other players will pick it up a lot quicker. I think the big problem here, if there's a doubt about Joe's ability and how he's going to help this team, is his health. He's playing on AstroTurf, and I know coaches are going to be going after him.
Well, you know, I don't think I'd go after him, but I'm sure there are coaches in the league, especially defensive coordinators, who would go after him, and they would try to get him out of there because he's a factor. In my opinion, he's the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game. He's got the rings, he's got the trophies, he's got the records to show it, and I think he's got to know how to play the game. He knows what to do with the ball and when to do it and how to do it, and that's the most important thing you can have going for you. He's going to need some help from the other guys now. The offensive line is a key thing, and I think his defense has to get him the ball back a little more than they did in preseason. But you wouldn't, as an opposing head coach, target the fragile Montana? I wouldn't. I have too much respect for the guy, but I'm sure there are guys who would say, let's get him out of there. We'll be a lot better off if he's not in there. I'm just not that way. Now, I'm not trying former defensive coordinator of yours, perhaps? Well, Buddy might go after me. Maybe they'll get their chance. Up next, Will McDonough joins us as we talk about Marcus Allen, Jim McMahon, and Emmitt Smith. Stay with us. Washington, D.C. about an hour ago as the NFL hosted festivities for the opening week of the season. Kickoff 93, Commissioner Paul Tagliabue on hand as the league kicks off its 74th season. Welcome back. Will McDonough joins us on the set now. You've heard what Mike and O.J. have said about Joe Montana. Will, what's your take on Joe?
I think he's going to have a difficult time getting through the whole year, Jim, physically. You know, when San Francisco let him go last year, the first thing they did before they did it was talk to their doctors and say, tell us what you think about his physical condition. And the doctors come back and said, we don't think he can hold up a 16-game season. We don't think he can practice a full year like a first-string quarterback should practice with his elbow. So they got to be very concerned in Kansas City about him holding up for a whole year.
The Chiefs don't buy it, Juice.
No, and I don't buy it either. I think Joe's elbow is just fine. I think the problem is he's 37 years old, and he is playing on AstroTurf. The Chiefs are aware of that, and as a coach will tell you, as guys get older, they're kind of protecting him a little bit. He won't practice every day, and they'll just kind of, during the week, take some of his time back where he can rest.
But I think his will is going to prevail. I really do. I think this guy is willing himself into a Super Bowl year and a Super Bowl team, and he's done it before. He's had the 2 years off. I think he's going to come back strong and have a good year. And I realize that there's a question whether he can stay healthy or not on that AstroTurf, but I think he will.
And, of course, Joe Montana is not the only Super Bowl MVP. Will?
Well, I think you get the same question about Marcus Allen, and you get the same question about Jim McMahon. Can guys who've been physically beat up the last 2 or 3 years and now mean so much to their teams finish a full season? All of them are playing now on AstroTurf this year, which is something new for most of their careers.
We say all of them. Marcus is debatable if he was that injured the last few years. He felt that the Raiders was using that as an excuse to keep him off the football field. We talked to Marcus a little bit. He's really enthused about going into this season.
Let's hear what Marcus has to say about his arrival in Kansas City.
I felt like I was an island with the Raiders, and now I feel that I'm a part of a team. I'm genuinely a part of a team. They have accepted me here. They want me here. It's really different because, you know, now I don't mind going to work. I like going to work. Before, I really hated, you know, I never really shared that with anybody. I hated going to work for several years.
What are the Chiefs looking for from Marcus Allen, Will?
Well, I think they're looking for leadership. You know, I talked to them in the spring when they picked him up, and I talked to Marty, and I talked to Carl Peterson, the general manager, and they said, this is the guy that Marty wanted right away from day one as a free agent to bring this guy in there because he felt Marcus was such a great guy on the team and could do so many things. So that's what they're looking for out of Marcus, is leadership.
Well, he will help Joe Montana. You know, a big part of Joe's weaponry is the fact that he likes to drop that ball off, and somehow, you know, they got rid of Christian Okoye and Barry Ward. You don't really see those guys catching that swing pass, something Mark is very adept at.
Mike?
You know, through the mid-'80s, when we were trying to put our ball club, bring it up to the top, the example we used in the league were the Raiders. And you had to beat the Raiders to be one of the top teams in football. This guy epitomized what football was all about to me. He, to me, was the best football player outside of the guy I thought we had in the league. But he did so many things so well. And the thing that amazed me about Marcus Allen was not only what he did well, he was one of the best competitors. I mean, he would do whatever he had to do on the field to win, and I like people who play that way.
The guy you had being Walter Payton, of course.
Well, Walter Payton was a pretty fair football player.
And another player you had, whom Will has brought up here, Jim McMahon. Can Jim still play?
Well, I hope so. I really do, for his sake. I think it's a second opportunity. I think the great things in life are when you get a second chance, can you make it happen? I think Dennis Green and the Vikings offense is well suited to what Jim does. Now, if he can stay healthy, it's going to be interesting. But they lost a key guy on their left side in Zimmerman. It's going to be hard to protect him. It may not be as easy as it looks on paper.
New offense in Chicago for Jim Harbaugh. Is it the right offense for him?
Well, first of all, it's not a new offense. That's a fallacy. It's the same offense. Basically, everybody tries to run some variation of the 49ers offense, quote. But who runs it well? Not too many people running it well, except the 49ers. But this offense is really more of the Dallas Cowboys offense. And it's similar to what we did last year, except we did more. He can run it, but he needs help. He needs everybody to help him out.
Just as the Cowboys may need some help if they have to play without Emmitt Smith. Let's turn to the league's most significant holdout this morning. We spoke with Dallas owner Jerry Jones and asked him if his team could win without Emmitt.
I think we can. We have 5 Pro Bowl players other than Emmitt on the offense. Our defense is looking better than it ever has. I certainly hope that no one man on this team can keep us from contending and getting to the Super Bowl.
How far away are they from signing him?
Well, I think they're going to have a difficult time with Emmitt because his agent's a guy that plays hardball, and Emmitt looks like he wants to go along with it. When he was a rookie, he held out. But the two most interested guys in America in this contract are Troy Aikman, because he's going to ask for more than Emmitt, and Barry Sanders in Detroit, who's sitting there waiting after Thurman Thomas and now Smith to see what he gets, because he's going to walk into the Lions and say, I want more than those two guys.
Will, Mike just not being an example. I mean, it's got to happen sometime. Somebody's got to say no somewhere. I mean, the league has made a tremendously big mistake in overpaying quarterbacks in the league. And what they've done with the quarterbacks, they've thrown the whole thing out of balance. And you can't blame an Emmitt Smith or a Barry Sanders for being a little bit ticked off, because the quarterback is making much more money than he deserves, and I'm going to say that right now. They deserve money, but not to the degree that they made it. The hero we made in this league is Lee Steinberg, which is crazy.
Lee Steinberg, agent to the millionaire quarterbacks, obviously not Mike's personal hero. We'll return with our picks of the week right after these messages.
The Pick of the Week is brought to you by American Honda, who has been making quality cars in America for the past 10 years.
Welcome back. Starting today and for the rest of the season, the 4 of us here will be picking one game each week. At the end of the season, Honda will donate $25,000 to a charity designated by the gentleman, or Mike, if it's him, with the most correct picks. Here are the charities we'll all be picking on behalf of. Will McDonough will pick for the Joey Fund. O.J. Simpson, Camp Good Times. Mike Ditka, Misericordia. And I will be picking on behalf of the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS. We'll get to this week's picks right after this message from Honda. All right, now here come the picks, starting with the self-described defending champion, Will McDonough. You're in a taller league now.
Well, listen, I like Denver to win 21-10, and Juice and I have a side bet. The winner takes the money and gives it to Mike so he can get a new outfit. That outdoorsman camouflage look isn't going to go on this show, I'm going to tell you right now.
I like Mike's look. Juice?
He looks like he shot a couch on the way to the studio today. I like Kansas City. I like Kansas City over Tampa. Spent some time with him this week. I think they're going to be tough this year.
24-14 is the score?
24-14. 10
Kansas
points
City
at
over
least.
Tampa. Mike?
Green Bay, 34-10 over L.A.
Ooh.
Green Bay 34-10 over LA.
big time.
Very entertaining. All three of you picking playoff contenders to beat also-rans. Clearly, somebody's going to have some nerve if we're going to be entertaining. I will go with Ted Marchibroda, the most underrated coach in the league, and his Colts to not only look good, but beat the Dolphins in the Hoosier Dome 21-17. Take that, guys. We'll see you at halftime with scores and highlights. The NFL on NBC is next, right after these messages from your local station.
Here at Giants Stadium, it's the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. Hello, everybody. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. This is the dawn of a new season. It's also the dawn of a new era in professional football with free agency, and indicative of contemporary football. The theme, new faces.
That's exactly right. You know, Charlie, for the Denver Broncos, new faces mean a new offensive line. Gary Zimmerman, Brian Habib, Don Maggs. But the big new face for the Denver Broncos is their head man, Wade Phillips. After a dozen years and 3 Super Bowl appearances with Dan Reeves, they parted ways. And now the man that everybody likes is in charge. But John Elway told us something very profound. If you think he's a wimp, don't. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's the man in charge.
He is in charge. Now, new faces for the New York Jets.
Well, the New York Jets, of course, the most prominent have to be on the defensive side of the ball with Leonard Marshall and Ronnie Lott that bring 6 Super Bowl victories between them. But, of course, it's the hometown boy, Boomer Esiason, the left-handed quarterback from Cincinnati. That's the man they're counting on to lead the green and white to the playoffs.
And just a few moments ago, here at Giants Stadium, a very special moment as Dennis Byrd came on the field. The Jets came and they greeted him, and then the Denver Broncos came out and they greeted him, and he was here for the toss of the coin.
Heads is the call. It is tails. There we go. You have a choice. Can we see? You can either go.
The Jets are receiving. The Denver Broncos are kicking off, and we are underway. Adrian Morrell will down it in the end zone, and the Jets will go to work at their own 20-yard line. And their new leader is Boomer Esiason from East Islip High School. And he certainly has been a question mark in preseason. Backs and receivers, Thomas Baxter, Moore, Burkett, and Mitchell. And an offensive line of Criswell, Cadigan, Sweeney, White, and Malamala. So New York will start the season from their own 20-yard line, first down. And they started on the ground as they give to Brad Baxter. And Baxter will pick up 4 to the 24. It'll be second down and 6 as Steve Atwater and Simon Fletcher make the defensive play for the Broncos. Defensively for Denver, here it is. Garnett, Cragen, Williams, Kroll, Wyman, Mecklenburg, and Fletcher. And in the secondary, though, those highlighted in white are the new faces: Braxton, Demery, Smith, and Atwater. So spot the ball at the Jets 24, and it's second down and 6, and the ball game just underway on a sun-drenched Sunday afternoon at Giant Stadium. Esiason with an audible. And again, they stay on the ground. And this time it is Blair Thomas, and it is Atwater moving up along with Simon Fletcher. Bruce Coslett, the head coach of the New York Jets, spot the ball at the 27-yard line, gain of 3, and it is third down and 3.
I don't think it's any secret that the New York Jets want to run the ball, and talking with not only their coordinators but their head coach Bruce Coslett, they want to reduce the turnovers that plagued them last year in a 4-12 campaign. They genuinely feel that Boomer Esiason has an awful lot left, and this is the sort of offense that he can maintain.
Third down and 3, and the Jets go now with 3 wide receivers. Boomer, the quick pass is complete for the first down to Mathis. A fumble, and the Broncos say that they have the ball, and they do. The first turnover. 17 yards on the pass play, but it ends in disaster for the Jets. And the Denver Broncos will move on offense for the first time. Dan Williams, the defensive end, their #1 draft choice, with the key play.
Terrence Mathis, the all-time leading receiver in collegiate football, just on a simple slant route, People slip and fall down. You can see Steve Atwater. Frank Robinson falls down too from the back. Here comes Braxton, just one hand in, and he's able to knock it away. Recovery made by the Broncos. Big turnover early in the game.
Dan Williams with the ball. And the Broncos have the ball at the 43, and Elway wants to cash in immediately. He's being pursued. You give him some room up the middle. He's inside the 30, and he dives to the 26-yard line. Now, that is one thing the Broncos want him to change. They want him to slide feet first. He simply cannot do it. Mo Lewis was there for the Jets.
Everybody's well aware of John Elway's mobility, but Reggie Rivers got away with a clip at about the 32-yard line, enabling Elway to get that first down. Frustration early on the part of the Jets because they put on a good pass rush, but that's what the great runners do.
Elway, of course, the starting quarterback, and will set the rest of the offense for you as time allows. The ball at the New York Jet 26-yard line. No score in the ball game. Broncos' first opportunity on offense. Here's the pitch, and here is Bernstein. And Rod will lead close to the 20-yard line. We'll give him 6. It'll be second down and 4. Mo Lewis with the tackle. And now let's look at that offensive set with Bernstein. And he, of course, came from San Diego. Del Pino came from the Rams. They're the new faces. Marshall, Russell, and Johnson are the receivers. Zimmerman, he came to the ball club from the Vikings. Wydell, Kartz, Habib also from the Vikings. And Russell Freeman moving from left tackle to right tackle along that offensive line. Second down and 4. The ball at the 20-yard line. They say it's 5, but it's really about 4.5. So we'll simply split the difference with our graphics operator. Elway fires far side. Pass is complete. He threads the needle to Reggie Johnson, the tight end, but the coverage was there as Bobby Houston had picked him up.
And pretty good coverage, only about a 2-yard gain. They require a lot of Bobby Houston.
Defensively for the Jets, it will be Washington, Mercereau, Marshall, and Lageman. Marshall, of course, the new face. Houston, Clifton, and Lewis are the linebackers. Thomas, Hasty, Washington, and Lott, with Thomas and Lott joining the ball club from Cincinnati and from the Raiders. So that is the set that we will see today offensively and defensively for the Jets and the Broncos. Third down, Elway to throw. He may end up running for it again, and he dives, and he will pick up the first down. Kyle Clifton was there to cover him.
And once again, John Elway not heeding the advice of Jim Fossil or Charlie Jones. Take a look at once again, good coverage in the secondary by the New York Jets. He actually gets a little confused here, his presence. Look at the 360, and there's nobody around. Now he looks to his right. Watch at the end. Instead of going feet first, he goes face first, and enables him to get the first down. It's funny that at age 33, you just can't break old habits, can you?
It is. It's very tough. It is.
Remember, he lost 4 games last year on a similar play, and that's why Coach Fossil wants him to slide feet first.
And on first down, here is Bernstein. There's not much there. He will go to the 11-yard line, so give him 3. It'll be second down and 7 yards to go. Marvin Washington leading the defense for the New York Jets.
I was going to say, Rod Bernstein is one of the more versatile backs in the National Football League. In fact, when he came out, those numbers are interesting right there, Charlie. Those actually are compiled in about 7 games. So he was heading for about a 1,200 or 1,300-yard season before he tore up his shoulder last year. The Denver Broncos are banking on the fact that this is going to be his year of durability.
And one of the reasons they're not planning to run inside as much against that heavy inside traffic. And it is second down. Elway to throw. Looks to the end zone. Has all the time in the world. Now he's being chased. Now he dumps it off. Now you are seeing the new rule. That's the new rule. He got outside of the pocket, outside of where the tackles of the tight end would be, and he grounds the ball at or near or past the line of scrimmage. And it's not intentional grounding, although that's what he was doing. That's the new rule.
This is the savvy quarterback. Take a look at this. He has no intention at all of throwing this to anybody. Last year, lost it down 10 yards. Not so this time. I'm with the defensive people on this. I think that's terrible. You work as hard as you can, pursue a great athlete like this, and at the last minute he can just throw it away and start over again. Very unfair to the defensive people.
Third down and long. Elway has a blitz coming at him, slips out of the grass, being chased again. He's dangerous on the run, knocked down in the end zone. Brian Washington saves the touchdown. Reggie Johnson, the intended receiver, And so the Jets defense stands tall here in the opening moments of the ball game, and the Broncos will go with a field goal attempt.
And Bobby Houston can't believe it. He came completely untouched with a blitz, and Elway still got away. Brian Washington, the New York Jets' most valuable player last year, very underrated player, number 48, does a nice job of getting his body in the way of Johnson, so he can't come up with the ball. 6 interceptions and 100 tackles last year. He should have been in the Pro Bowl.
Elam with a 28-yard field goal attempt. He hit from 52 in preseason, and this one is from 28 yards out. It is good. And the Denver Broncos open the scoring here at Giant Stadium. They lead 3-0. Part of the pregame ceremonies here, Dennis Bird, the honorary captain, and this is the way that he was greeted when he stepped onto the field here at Giant Stadium. What a moment that was. His teammates rushed out to greet him, immediately followed as he came to midfield by the Denver Broncos. And now Denver leading 3-0, kicking off. This one is high and it is short. And is taken to the 10-yard line by Adrian Morrell. And Morrell pops it up the far side and is finally out of bounds. Nice return for the young man from West Virginia, the rookie taken in the 5th round. Charles Dimry finally stopped him 27 yards on the return, and the Jets will start with very good field position. And a check of the 10-minute ticker on the early scores going by. So New York at their own 31-yard line, first down. And you expect them to go back to the ground game. And they do. And Johnny Johnson makes his first appearance in the ball game, and Brunette makes the tackle along with Mike Rowe.
Johnny Johnson was a Pro Bowler for the Phoenix Cardinals his rookie year 3 years ago, but for whatever reason he found himself in the doghouse of Joe Bugle, and so they traded Johnny Johnson to the New York Jets. The Jets say in effect for nothing. All they did was they switched first-round picks. They claim that they're going to take Marvin Jones anywhere, their great defensive player. Jim Sweeney, the center for the Jets, said that that's the best trade they've had in his 10 years with the Jets.
Laird Thomas comes in, and as you saw, Johnson went out. Thomas is the remaining back. He is the carry on a sweep to the near side, and waiting on him was Shane Ronell. Shane was taken in the 2nd round of the draft a year ago, 6'6", 275 pounds, and he was waiting for him.
When Mecklenburg comes, that means the right guard has to take him instead of pulling out and getting a piece of the defensive end, and the result is Dronette is untouched, and he drops Thomas for a loss.
A loss of 7 on the play, so it is 3rd down and 11. And Esiason will be throwing for the 2nd time in the ballgame. The first one picked up 17, but ended with a fumble. And he goes far side, and this one is intercepted at the 45-yard line by Tyrone Braxton. 2nd turnover in the ball game. Mathis, the intended receiver, and for the 2nd time, the Denver Broncos will be moving on offense.
3rd and 11, the Broncos back up into a zone, and Braxton does not honor Blair Thomas in the flat. Take a look, 34. He's actually supposed to be watching in the flat. Now watch him come back to the middle. He reads Boomer Esiason's eyes, makes a terrific catch. Once again, 2 turnovers for the Broncos. Excellent field position when we come back.
NFL on NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. By LA Tech Light Gear. You gotta own the light if you want to own the night. And by the heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer.
This is Charlie Jones, Todd Christensen, Bruce Cossett, the head coach of the Jets, and Boomer talking over the interception. Denver now starting from the New York 44-yard line. A moment ago in the fumble recovery, they started from the 34, and they ended up with the field goal. And here is Rod Bernstein to the outside. And Rod will lean across the 35-yard line. And they're going to mark it at that point.
Big adjustment for the Denver Broncos this year is in the offensive line. This is where they made most of the adjustments. Take a look at the left side. Watch number 65 Zimmerman come off on the double team. He gets 2 people there. He gets Lewis and Lageman, and that enables Bernstein to cut up inside. Gary Zimmerman, by most experts, is considered one of the 2 best left tackles. And it says a lot to the organization of the people there with the Denver Broncos that when they went out and got Gary Zimmerman, the players knew that management's serious about winning.
Second down and 1. And here is the first down as Bernstein goes over the top right side. He'll pick up 4 to the 31-yard line. Who's the other one? You said he's 1 of 2.
Well, the interesting thing here
everybody else is 2.
No, but in the offseason, no, Paul Gruber of the Tampa Bay. But the interesting point is that in the offseason, they went out and got Don Maggs, who is going to be their left tackle. He ends up hurting his back, and what do? They go out and get this guy, as I say, considered one of the 2 best in the league. So that says something about how important it is to protect John Elway.
And also Jim Fossil, the coordinator for the Broncos, was telling us yesterday how impressive he was right from the get-go. From the first time he walked into the locker room. Here's a little flea flicker. Coverage is there downfield. Elway has no place to go. Now he comes back as a flag back at the 15-yard line. He was coming back to the near side as Reggie Johnson, the tight end, has slipped away. Excellent defensive coverage in the secondary for the Jets as they picked up the flea flicker, but there may have been some holding.
Take a look at Ronnie Lott, number 42. The flea flicker, he's going to step up. He gets fooled, and he clobbers the receiver. That's what happens. Elway looks downfield, doesn't see anybody, and throws the ball away across the field. It's going to be an illegal chuck downfield by the Jets.
And now the conference is being held. And what they're talking about is what time, when did it happen? Was the ball in the air, or was at that point, was it still a running play?
Well, no, the penalty should come forward because Ronnie Lott clearly was beat. He took the steps up, clobbered the receiver, and then Elway didn't
on
have
the
it.
play, the quarterback had handed off. There can be no illegal contact after that.
Now that could be argued. There's no doubt in my mind that Ronnie Lott knew that was a flea flicker. That's what happens when you're a savvy veteran like that. He steps up, clobbers the guy, and said, we'll take the 5 yards. But instead, their belief is the timing that it was a running play, and Ronnie Lott knew better, and so did John Elway, but he got away with one.
But it had not become a pass play at that point.
I'm telling you something.
I know.
If that's just another free safety, I'm not sure he gets the call.
I knew it was a flea flicker, too. Second down and 10. Elway to throw. As this pass is complete at the 25-yard line. And it is Shannon Sharp who pulls it in, and Brian Washington who pulls him down after a gain of 6 on the play. Third down and 4.
Almost unanimously, the offensive coaches say that this is the man that's going to be the go-to receiver. They have a lot of inexperience out at wide receiver. They've got some pretty good running backs, but the guy that's going to have to move the sticks for them is that man, Shannon Sharp.
And Mr. Third Down, Glenn Milburn, number 22, the rookie from Stanford, now in the lineup for the Broncos. Third down and 4. Elway from the shotgun. He was looking to Milburn coming over the middle, but instead he comes back to Sharp coming across to the near side. And he picks it up and goes all the way to the 9-yard line. It was third down and 4, and he picked up 13.
I can't overemphasize this enough. The offensive line play for the Denver Broncos. Sharp gets lost coming across. Actually pretty good coverage. He gets lost coming across, but look at all the time that Elway has to decipher who's who. That normally would have been a sack last year for the Denver Broncos, but instead this time he's able to find Sharp for a first down inside the 10.
And meanwhile, when Milburn went across the middle, he took 2 defenders with him. And it's first down and goal to go 9-yard line. Broncos lead at 3-0, and they threaten to stretch it to 10. But not this time, as Rod Bernstein is pulled down by the interior line of the New York Jets and Kyle Clifton. The middle linebacker also had a piece of the play, second and goal.
Interesting dilemma that the Jets have. Kyle Clifton, number 59, their inside backer, throughout his career has averaged nearly 10 tackles a game. In fact, in one season he had just short of 200 tackles at 199. But now their big pick in the draft, of course, is Marvin Jones, and they're intent on playing him at middle linebacker. So at the tender age of 31, Kyle Clifton might find himself looking around even though he's a quality football player.
Second down and goal. 31 this team.
Oh, he got that right. It's a baby.
Little play action fake, doesn't fool anybody. Elway now has pressure. Comes back to this side to Bernstein. He catches it. And they are going to lose 6 back to the 15, where it'll be third down and goal to go. Now from the New York Jets standpoint, if they defensively can hold one more time and force the Broncos to kick their second field goal,
then that man will look like a genius.
Yes.
Absolutely right.
Because the Jets haven't had any offense at all.
They really haven't. Well, actually, they've had a couple of plays with bad turnovers. Now in a situation where you're exactly right. All they have to do is keep them out of the end zone here, and momentum can shift back to their side.
And the sellout crowd, as you can see, now getting back into the game. Third down and goal all the way from the shotgun. Coming across the middle, it is Shannon Sharp, but he is going to be dumped at the 13-yard line. It'll be fourth down, and the field goal team will come on as James Hasty makes the tackle. And Elam will attempt his second field goal of the season.
You know, despite the wrinkled look on the face of Pete Carroll, he has to be very happy with that. John Elway looked in the end zone, saw no chance, dumped it underneath, conceded the 3 points. But in this case, as you mentioned, a real boon to the state of mind for the New York Jets.
And this will be a 30-yard field goal attempt. Elam has already hit from 28 yards away. Maddox is the holder. And this one is up. And it is good. And the Broncos now move on top, courtesy of 2 field goals by a score of 6-0. Bruce Cosslett, the head coach, and they're hoping with following him around, as she should. That's his teenage daughter, Amy. You know, that's very important because otherwise the whole, you know, the headset goes flying off and the whole thing. She's a junior in high school.
Oh, but look at that. She's got to work on that. What's the deal? Hey, wait a minute.
Well, it's the beginning of the year.
What, Amy doesn't have to deal with snarls? What's the deal? Well, I tell you, nepotism at its best there,
I love it. Here you go. Here's the kickoff. And Murrell from the 5-yard line. He's out to the 15. Tries to spin loose, and they will give him maybe the 16 or the 17-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. We'll step aside for a moment. Denver out in front, 6-0. The patch that the New York Jets are wearing now will blow it up for you. There it is on the other side of the field. This is the 25th anniversary of Super Bowl III. And that is the team, the 1968 Jets. Super Bowl III, of course, in Miami in 1969. That was one of the greatest upsets in the history of professional football. And the game that really turned the AFL around. Now the AFC.
Got a trivia question for you.
Right after this play. Okay. Now they're going to stay on the ground. And jumping to the outside is Blair Thomas. Thomas, a nice run. He gets across the 25 to the 26-yard line. So he'll pick up 8 on the play. As Charles Dimry makes the tackle, it'll be second down. Your question is?
Everybody is aware of who the head coach was, Weeb Eubank. Do you know who the defensive coordinator was?
Defensive coordinator. There's Weeb. And, of course, he is honored here, as also Joe Namath, as his jersey has been retired, and Don Maynard. I would say that he is still coaching.
You okay? You are right.
And it's not Walt Michaels.
That's correct.
Because he was on that staff. And here is Boomer, a little play action, and then the draw to Blair Thomas, and he pops it left side, and there's a flag down. And now another one. So a flag at the 27 and a flag up at the 37-yard line as Steve Atwater finally makes the tackle. But the Jets offensively beginning to show some progress on the ground. Here's the call from Gary Lane, the referee. And that progress will be halted with the penalty.
So who was it?
Now at Houston.
Son of a gun, you knew. You knew.
Well, I had help.
Very good.
I must say I had help.
Multiple fouls. Holding number 83 on the offense. Penalties declined.
Johnny Mitchell.
Holding offense number 87. Penalty is accepted. 10 yards.
That's
Repeat
Burkett.
Second down.
You know, Chris Burkett was arguably their most valuable player last year on special teams, and now with Altoon retired, he's filled the slot on offense. And in talking with Bruce Coslet, we said that, you know, is there a big fall off from Altoon to Burkett? And he said, well, not really, but of course the vacuum that he leaves, because as a starter he can't do all the things that he did last year on special teams, causes a little bit of a problem for him.
And with the penalty, it is second down and 11, and the ball back at the 17-yard line. Broncos up 6-0 on a pair of field goals, capitalizing on 2 turnovers, and this is incomplete. Johnny Mitchell, the intended receiver, and Atwater was all over him. It'll be third down and long.
Johnny Mitchell, first-round pick last year for the Jets, and many people feel like is the most athletic tight end in the National Football League, but Steve Atwater was all over him here. Charlie Waters said there are going to be a lot of people that are going to try and cover Johnny Mitchell, and Atwater is one of them. He does an outstanding job there, coming very close to the pick.
And let's get back to one final note. Buddy Ryan, of course, we will see him later this season with the Oilers. We have the Houston Oilers, San Diego Chargers in a couple of weeks. But people forget, that's a great point, that he was the defensive coordinator of the Super Bowl team.
Many people feel like he might be the missing piece to get Houston to big game.
And I'm one of those. And the pass is incomplete. Johnny Mitchell, the intended receiver, Lilo Lang, was there. As the crowd felt he got there too soon, the officials did not. It'll be 4th down.
As we said, there are going to be a lot of people covering Johnny Mitchell.
And there's another flag dropped back at the 12-yard line. And it is going against the Denver Broncos. So as you look at Wade Phillips, the new head coach, this, I believe, the first mistake that Denver's made in the ballgame.
Legal use of the hands, number 99 defense, hands to the face, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that is on Shane Dronette.
And that's big. That's a big penalty considering you had 3rd and way long and they were forced to punt. A lot of times those things are incidental, but Wade Phillips can't be too happy about that with a 2nd-year pro from Florida.
So spot the ball at the 22-yard line. Jets still in their own territory, but now they have a 1st down. 1:38 left to go in the 1st period. And a play action fake to freeze the linebackers, and all alone down the sideline is Johnny Mitchell. And that is the offense that the Jets have been looking for from their new quarterback, Boomer Esiason, who can really handle the football.
We mentioned the fact that they're going to try and cover him with different people. Successful with Atwater, a defensive back. Successful with Lilo Lang, a defensive back. But here it's a linebacker, Mike Kroll, who's on him, and he gives him the out and up move. Look how far behind Mike Kroll is here. And Mitchell just barely missing going the distance. They have to put a defensive back on Johnny Mitchell because a linebacker cannot cover this man consistently on a man-for-man basis.
38 yards to the Denver 42, and it's 1st down. Now back to the ground. And here is Thomas. 36-yard line. So he picks up 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Dave Wyman with the tackle.
2nd pick in the draft. Many feel like he is yet to justify that particular pick. You know, last year he rushed for over there's his rushing total, over 400 yards last year. He's somebody that cannot seem to stay healthy throughout the entire season. And I remember asking Bruce Cosley yesterday, here's a situation where you might get a guy who can get his 20-25 carries a game, and he said no, not with Johnny Johnson. Even this year he's going to be a part-time player.
Miami and the Colts, they are tied at 7 as the scores go by on the 10-minute ticker. 2nd down and 4 at the 36-yard line of Denver. And it is Brad Baxter, the fullback, who carries. Cragen with the tackle at the 35. Gain of a yard. Fletcher was also there. So it will be 3rd down and 3. We'll take the countdown to the end of the 1st period. With the score, the Denver Broncos 6 and the New York Jets nothing. We'll be back at Giant Stadium in just a moment. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. Glad that you could join us this afternoon as we start the 1993 in the National Football League, the brand new edition. The New York Jets and the Denver Broncos here at Giant Stadium. And the Denver Broncos up courtesy of a pair of field goals by Jason Elam of 28 and 30 yards. And they were set up by a pair of turnovers. Fumble recovery by Dan Williams and the interception by Tyrone Braxton. But right now, the New York Jets are at the 35-yard line of Denver as we open the 2nd period, and it's 3rd down and 3. And Esiason to throw. And he threads the needle to Mathis, and Mathis inside the 10 to the 6, maybe the 5-yard line. Braxton and Smith finally stop him, a gain of 29 yards, converting on 3rd and 3.
Denver Broncos are in what's called a one robber. The center fielder goes with the tight end. Esiason has Braxton man for man. As a result, Braxton just cannot stay with Mathis. Big play for the Jets.
And it will be 1st down and goal to go just outside the 6-yard line. And the New York Jets here with an opportunity to tie with a touchdown and go ahead with the extra point. And there will be there for Brad Baxter. Sweep to the right side, and Tyrone Braxton moves up and makes the tackle.
Well, I don't know if he totally made up for not having the coverage last time, but that was a big hit. Baxter's one of the toughest fullbacks in the National Football League, 6'1", 235, and Braxton at only about 5'10", 185, came up through his body to his legs. Excellent job, showing a lot of toughness. Great run support.
Loss of 3 to the 9. It'll be second down and goal to go. Baxter and Thomas are the setbacks. And you look for Esiason to throw. Little swing right side. The pass is complete. And he's going to get to the 5-yard line. Baxter just swinging into the right flat, and Braxton again moving over on the coverage, and Dan Williams, who had the fumble recovery earlier, was also there. So spot it now at the 5-yard line, where it's third down and goal to go. The defense of Denver facing exactly the situation that the Jets defense had a moment ago. Hold them for one here. You can snatch momentum back, as they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
I think the difference here, though, Charlie, is that the Jets have finally established themselves offensively. And, of course, as you mentioned, with the help of the big penalty earlier in the drive.
A fumble on the exchange. And Boomer falls on it, and it's going to be fourth down and goal to go. Still at the 5-yard line. The field goal attempt will come in. What you were talking about, of course, the penalty on Shane Dronette. That was third down and 11. And the Broncos had held. And the Jets would have been forced to punt, and Denver would have had reasonably good field position. But instead, it kept the drive moving. And here is Blanchard with the field goal attempt from the 12, an attempt of 22 yards. And it is up, and it is good. And so the Jets are on the board, and the Broncos now lead 6-3.
After NFL doubleheader. First, Montana meets Moon when the Chiefs battle the Oilers. Then a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills will be out for revenge when they battle Troy Aikman and the world champion Dallas Cowboys. The NFL on NBC next Sunday.
Welcome back to Giants Stadium, and the New York Jets will be kicking off. Louis Aguiar, the punter, also handles the kickoff chores. And deeper, Derek Russell and Glenn Milburn, they will be returning for the Denver Broncos. And this one may carry to the end zone. Russell, no, takes it right at the goal line. He's to the 5, sweeps to the 10, 15. A flag is down across the 20. He's hit at the 21-yard line. But there's a marker on the play. Pat Chafee makes the tackle, 21 yards on the return if it stands. Here's Gary Lane, the referee. It will be against the Denver Broncos, as it usually is against the return team.
In the back on the return team, number 40, half the distance to goal line, first down.
It's on Darrell Hall. And they'll split the distance back to the 9-yard line. So Denver will go to work at the 9-yard line, first down. Elway thus far has completed 5 of 8 for 22 yards. Boomer Esiason 4 of 6 for 84 yards. And the first time that Denver has moved on offense without having good field position. And Elway to the throw. And it is juggled. Shannon Sharp, he never had possession. It's incomplete. Bobby Houston was there. It'll be second down. You know, we have a pair of 7s. It could be a lucky start with John Elway, number 7, of course, and Boomer Esiason, also number 7.
Well, you couldn't tell Boomer that by the first 2 drives. A very unlucky 7. First he gets the fumble by Mathis, and then he gets the interception by Braxton.
Second down and 10. Bernstein again, the remaining back. And Elway to throw. And the pass is complete. This will be a first down to the tight end Reggie Johnson. Brian Washington makes the stop.
That throw is indicative of what Jim Fossil told us yesterday in terms of trying to reestablish John Elway's touch. Not every ball has to be gunned in there.
pocket, 23-yard line. And first down. See, leaning around just from the glasses, right, you can just see that is half a fossil.
Oh, no.
We discovered him. It's from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
it's a half fossil. Here's Bernstein right off the left side. He goes across the 25 to the 27. Now let's have an update. Our first, New York.
Ties the Dolphins with the Colts in period number 1 at 7 apiece. Back to you, Charlie.
All right, thank you, Lamps, for the update. Here it's Denver 6 and the Jets 3, and the Denver getting a little something going on offense. They started from their own 9. Now they're out to the 27. Elway picks up the first down. He goes to the far side, and that is Rod Bernstein. And Ronnie Lott was there with the coverage. Hard to number 33 does not look like Rod Bernstein, does it?
Oh, sure it does.
No, it doesn't.
Just because he wore 82. Well, you forgot that, when he was in college at Texas A&M, he played tight end. He wore number 29.
Well, but that's right. But he got a tight end's number when he came to the NFL, and that was 82.
Because many people felt like that he was going to be just that, a Pro Bowl tight end, but instead he found himself as a running back. Just the opposite of yours truly. I came in the league as a running back, and they turned me into a tight end.
And you had the same number situation. You had a fullback's number.
Exactly right.
And you were playing tight end, and brilliantly so.
What a guy.
Here's a swing to the right side to number 33, and of course that's Rod Bernstein. Well, and Bobby Houston with the tackle.
Getting back to Bernstein, this is really the dimension that he adds to the Denver Broncos. Because, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the wide receivers are relatively inexperienced. The tight end and running backs are going to be crucial to the passing game, and because of Bernstein's abilities as a former tight end, they have no reservations at all about getting him the ball coming out of the backfield.
And of course, that's also one of the reasons they feel that he may be free, hopefully, from injuries, is that he is going to be more outside and head up with cornerbacks rather than nose tackles and inside linebackers. Second down and 3. And here is Bernstein to the left side. Spins, and he is decked. Washington hit him, and Ronnie Lott put him away.
This is the reason right there, Charlie, that they're concerned about the health of Rod Bernstein.
Yes.
He runs straight up and down. He's 6'3". He's 238 pounds. He certainly isn't a small man. But take a look at how vertically he runs, straight up and down. Most runners have somewhat of a forward lean. Watch as he's exposed. Pow! There comes Ronnie Lott to end it.
Well, at 6'3", 238, it's hard not to run without a vertical lean.
Interesting point. Another 6'3" running back was a guy by the name of Larry Zonka. He had a pretty decent forward lean.
Yes, he did. But he was heavier.
240. He's heavier by 2 pounds, Charlie.
Well, that was a different era. Here is Bernstein, and he may not have made it. The Jets don't think so. Ronnie Lott does not think so.
Yeah, let's talk about how Ronnie Lott has lost it, how he can't play anymore, how he's too old, how he's just riding on trying to get the money.
How he is all league off of this performance. Yeah.
He mentioned to us that Howie Long referred to him as what?
A mercenary.
A financial missionary.
Yeah, well, he really been a financial mercenary.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we all are.
Well, there's no doubt about it, but Ronnie Lott justifies it. Take a look at the Pro Bowl selections. Arguably the hardest hitter in the secondary. He has established himself certain Hall of Famer, number 42, and a big play right there for the Jets.
Defense holds Tom Roy from the University of Colorado with his first kick, and on the return, Terrence Mathis. Not that good a kick, wobbly.
Not that good a snap either.
Takes a bit of a Denver roll, down at the 21-yard line. And we'll have a timeout. We'll step aside. Denver 6, New York 3. Back in a moment.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Oldsmobile. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By the American Express card, don't leave home without it. And by the Crest Complete toothbrush. Crest Complete helps maintain a dentist clean.
Welcome back to Giants Stadium. Boomer Esiason. And he, of course, the hometown boy. Is that his dad there? I believe so, in the dark glasses and the cap that, let's say St. James. You got better eyes than I do.
Well, I think it says St. John's.
St. John's? Well, I was close.
Interesting point. Boomer told me yesterday the guy hasn't missed a practice.
Oh, no.
He did every practice.
He didn't miss it. And Boomer is going to be sacked at the 12-yard line. Somebody missed a block. Dave Wyman was there to get the sack.
Talked to Dave Wyman yesterday, and he is excited about the prospect of replacing Michael Brooks. A lot of people in the Denver area were saying what a dearth there's going to be in the middle as we take a look again at Boomer's father.
And Norman Sr. Now, Boomer's name is Norman, and he hates the name Norman.
Yeah, I've seen the commercial.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
Don't call me Norman.
There may be those that have not seen the commercial. Very few, of course.
Okay. Was that worth interrupting my Wyman story?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was, because the picture is what we were talking about. Second down and 18. And I thought we never would get to Norman again. Here's the pass. This one is complete. And this is Rob Carpenter, and he is going to be close to the first down, but maybe 3 yards shy.
That's what you would call in the secondary a very loose zone. That's all well and good to get the sack, but you can't just back up and give it away, and that's what the Bronco defense did now, and there's a very makeable 3rd and 3.
3rd and 3, the ball at the outside the 28, really the 29-yard line. 6:51 and counting. That is the time remaining in the first half. And we have had a total of 3 field goals. The Broncos with 2, the Jets with 1. And Denver up by 3, 6-3. Third down and short. And here is the draw, and it is not there. Blair Thomas gets the call and gets only to the 30-yard line.
Got a little confused in the backfield, a little bit of a stumble. Boomer actually gives a pretty good fake, but in giving the fake, take a look there, he'll have a chance. He's going to bump a little bit the leg of Thomas. Watch him stumble right there, just a little bit, stumbles and can't catch himself. Trips over the back of Sweeney. Good play there by Hall and Lang to make sure that he doesn't get the first down.
4th down and 1. Louis Aguiar will be kicking.
Great story about Louis Aguiar, Charlie. He actually won this job somewhat secondarily by winning a contest at Candlestick Park.
Oh, this is a great kick. And here is Milburn. Backpedals to the 18-yard line.
Oh!
He's going to lose a couple, and an outstanding play by Anthony Pryor.
The one-handed tackle. What a play by Pryor, and what a kick by Aguiar.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Glenn Milburn is taken down by Pryor. Take a look at that. Boy, coming full speed and able to catch him right at the ankles. Tremendous play.
Denver leads 6-3. They have the ball at their own 16-yard line, first down. Elway dances. Now he finds the open man, and it's Reggie Johnson, the tight end, and he goes all the way across the 50. Into Jet territory before Kyle Clifton and Brian Washington can finally catch up to him. 37 yards on the play.
Charlie, it's easy to blame it on the secondary, but all the time that John Elway had, count the seconds, all the time he has to look at the field. Look at this, at least 6 seconds he can look around, and Johnson, not normally the receiving tight end, normally it's Shannon Sharp, is wide open on the side. Big play for the Broncos, an outstanding job by their offensive line.
Ball just outside the 46-yard line of the Jets. It's a first down. Defensive change. Carl Wilson is in for Logan. The pass is complete. Coming across the middle again is Shannon Sharp, and he is going to be close to the first down. Let's see what the official spots the ball just outside the 36-yard line. Ronnie Lott making the tackle.
The Jets came with a strong safety blitz, which means Ronnie Lott had to have Shannon Sharp man for man. And as great a player as Ronnie Lott is, the one drawback he does have is that he's lost a step, and man for man coverage is not his strong suit.
And it is a first down at the 36-yard line. And Elway is set again. And Sharp comes across in motion. And the pitch is to Bernstein. Sharp, a little screen block. Bernstein cutting in behind it, and a flag comes down.
More than a little screen block. I think he grabbed a hold of him. I think that's what the flag's going to be.
That's called a big handful of screen block. Carl Wilson, who's in a defensive end for Jeff Lageman, making the tackle.
No foul on the play. The ball was pitched backwards.
Somebody just wanted to get on camera. You know, I can't, it's almost a unanimity here with regards to feelings to this man, Wade Phillips. It seems like everybody likes him.
Yes. Well, they do. What's wrong with that?
Well, Will Rogers would have to come up with another axiom where this guy's concerned. He's just the opposite. He's the antithesis of that. Never met a man that didn't like this guy. It's amazing. Right. But as he pointed out to us, he says, let's see if they all feel the same way in November. If they do, then that's great.
Second down and 10. Here's pressure, and he dumps it off, and he gets away with it.
Now, interesting point here would be that he's in the pocket this time. He's not outside the pocket.
Yeah, but he had Derek Russell kind of over there.
That's true, but you and I both know he wasn't trying to convert that pass.
Of course.
Take a look at his eyes. Where are his eyes right at the last minute? He looks downfield. He knows right here he's going to get sacked, so he looks to the middle and goes, let's just get rid of this thing. And you're right. Fortunately for him, Russell was in the vicinity. Good play by John Elway.
3rd down and 6. And now they'll show the shotgun. And a blitz, but it is picked up. The pass to Sharp is going to be shy of the 1st down. Now, you've got to make a decision. No, the decision has been made. They're going with a field goal attempt. No, Elam started out. Now he comes back. It's going to be 4th and short.
They're going for it.
And no, Elam comes back. They'll go for the 1st down. You're right.
I like this play for a lot of reasons, Charlie. First of all, a 45-yard field goal is hardly a guarantee. You're putting all the pressure upon your young rookie kicker to pump this through when you have 4th and just half a yard. The other thing is here is now with these new offensive linemen, it's like, hey, we just paid you these $1 zillion. Get us a half a yard.
4th down, half a yard, and the Jets will take a timeout. 2:58. Was it Denver that took the timeout? Okay. We'll step aside.
Didn't I see you at a Honda dealer yesterday? Yeah.
Jim Fossil, the offensive coordinator, what's he going to call in this situation? I really hope, you know, we've watched so many football games, Charlie, and it's inevitable in a lot of cases. Hut, 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 trying to draw them off sides. I'll be interested to see if they're going to do that, or maybe they're going to run behind their prize left tackle Zimmerman.
Or just go over the top. You got Reggie Rivers and Rod Bernstein. You send Rivers over the top, Bernstein over the top. Or you send Rivers boring in. And one Bronco says 1st down, and Ronnie Lott of the Jets says we held them. And of course, neither opinion counts.
I'm very surprised by that for a lot of reasons. First of all, they're blocking tight end. Their big tight end Johnson was on the left side, number 89. They ran behind Sharp and Freeman. I would have thought they'd have been better off to run behind Zimmerman and Johnson.
The Jets hold. They take over on down. And the last man up for New York is Bobby Houston, number 55.
And the first man to greet him will be number 0 or whatever his number. He doesn't have his number. Look at the animation of Pete Carroll. Coming to the right. Look at Freeman, got off the ball slowly, number 68, and that's what hurt them. Russell Freeman, the right tackle, gets off the ball slowly, and his man is able to dominate at the line of scrimmage. Here's Pete Carroll's reaction. He says, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. Yes, no, the other direction. Yes, indeed. Somewhat impassive, but he thinks it's a 1st down. Wade, I'm sorry, you were wrong.
And the Jets 1st down from their own 27-yard line. They trail in the ballgame 6-3 with 2:53 left to go in the 1st half. And here is Blair Thomas. Thomas to the 40. Thomas across the 50-yard line.
What a move he put on.
25 yards on the play.
Take a look at the shake and bake to the right of your screen. Watch the double move. A little Barry Sanders. Look out. Here I go. Just left Simon Fletcher in his feet. I know Rob Moore right there wished he'd had a better block on Steve Atwater. Otherwise, Thomas might have had a shot at going the distance.
Now it is 1st down at the Denver 49-yard line. Esiason in play action, wants to go deep. He does. Pass is complete. Chris Burkett inside the 30-yard line. And the Jets are underway. Atwater with the tackle. 19 yards on the play. And now the 2-minute warning will be given to both benches. We'll step aside. Denver 6, Jets 3, and they're on the move.
Think of all this as a large block of ice. Think of this as a chip off the old block. Coors Light's aged ice cold. So when you think of ice, think of the silver bullet. The only way to chill.
2 minutes to go in the first half. Denver leads by 3. And the Jets have a first down at the Bronco 28-yard line. Esiason, 6 of 8, 121 yards, and 1 interception. And here is the draw to Blair Thomas. Be sure to stay with us at halftime. There's the trio: Jim Lampley, Mike Ditka, O.J. Simpson. That's the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report. And also Marcus Allen with an NFL Live halftime report. And that should really be interesting. That's all at halftime, so don't go away.
Almost as interesting as Mike's shirt.
As Ditka's shirt. Mike Ditka. You know we wear coats and ties. Have you seen that? That's a wild shirt he has on.
I get some of that NFC toughness.
Yes, that's right. An Independence. Esiason going to ease on over through everybody. And it's going to be third down. And a check, of course, of the 10-minute ticker. San Francisco comfortably in front. Buffalo out in front of New England. That's expected. Green Bay, they're going to be a good ball club this year. We saw them last year. Philadelphia over Phoenix. That's expected. Phoenix still struggling. Colts are hanging in there against Miami. Ooh, Atlanta.
That's a big surprise.
It is.
I think a lot of people felt that Atlanta, with all those new offensive linemen and Eric Dickerson, were going to be a little more formidable than that.
Cincinnati in front of Cleveland, as you saw. Third down and 9. Here it's Denver 6 and the Jets 3. And it will be an incomplete pass. Burkett is nailed by Steve Atwater. And Atwater, perfect timing. He got there just a millisecond after the football.
People that follow football remember the big hit 3 years ago that Atwater put on Christian Okoye on a Monday night game. That is what he's known for. 6'3½", 217 pounds, nearly 150 tackles last year. And a lot of them were just like that. Major collision.
And now here is Kerry Blanchard for the tie with a 44-yard field goal attempt. We are tied at 6. Backs on the return. Russell number 85 and Milburn is number 22. And Aguiar will be kicking off. And a high floater is taken by Russell right at the goal line. He's out to the 10, cuts it to 15, to 20, stumbles a bit. His momentum carries him across the 25 to around the 27-yard line. Bobby Houston with the tackle. They'll give him 27 yards on the return since he started right at the goal line.
Earlier in the season, Charlie, the Denver Broncos were playing the Miami Dolphins in the preseason, and they went in the middle of the second quarter primarily with a 2-minute offense. They just went up and down the field, and many people were questioning Wade Phillips and Jim Fossil, saying, why don't you do that consistently? Maybe that should be your offense. Well, with 58 seconds left, that's what they're going to do. And there you see offensive coordinator Jim Fossil downstairs, maybe to engineer this drive.
And here is the handoff from the shotgun to Milburn. Milburn pops loose. Nice little head fake, and he goes out of bounds, and that will stop the clock as he goes to the 43-yard line. And he'll pick up the first down in route. A gain of 14 on the play. And remember when we talked to Fawcett, he likes being down on the field, but you can't see anything from it.
Well, you certainly can't see all 22, that's right. But you know what? It was a guy named Tarkin, and he played quarterback for 16 years, called on his own plays, and he seemed to see pretty well.
Yeah, but he wasn't on the side. He was
oh, come
behind.
on.
That's a much, Tarkin had a much better view.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Here comes the blitz, and it's picked up. Elway goes deep, has a man at Sharp, holds on to it, bounces off of Lott, and goes out of bounds. Oh, what a heads-up play by Shannon Sharp. First, he holds on to the football. Second, he bounces off a Lott. Third, he gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 43 seconds.
Let's also give some credit to Glenn Milburn for picking up the blitzer. Watch number 22, Brian Washington on the blitz, and Milburn, 5'9", 180, picks him up, and here's Sharp. Ronnie Lott not very happy with himself right here because he goes for the knockout punch, completely misses him. in terms of knocking him down, and Sharp gets the extra yardage. You're right, though. Big catch by Shannon Sharp there to put the Broncos in scoring position.
And a gain of 37 to the 20-yard line. Sharp also saves a timeout. Here's pressure. Blitz coming from the outside. Elway shakes loose. Now he throws back over the middle. Pass is complete at the 7-yard line to Derek Russell inside the 5. Now they'll take the timeout. Elway rolling right, not looking, knew he was there, came back at the last moment and fired.
And he points over to Jim Fossil to say, you were right, good call. How many times have we watched this in the career of John Elway? He rolls right, escapes the blitz, and all of a sudden the defense is at his mercy.
And that's Tommy Maddox who signals the plays in and says, with a big smile, I knew he could do it.
How frustrating here. Good rush. There he is. Almost gets him, but no. And now this is where he's dangerous. Drives you crazy with that gun for an arm, sees the field, puts it right in there.
Did you notice what he was doing with his head? As he was rolling out to the right, he looked back in the middle, saw where that was, came with his face and his eyes back to the right, knowing that he had the opening in the middle, took everybody with him, came back and fired it.
Did we say something about this 2-minute offense and maybe they should use this?
Man is magic. It was you. I think so. He's completed 13 of 19, 159 yards. And there is the offensive coordinator, Jim Fossil. I saw him in the hall right before the ball game. I said, are you ready? He said, I'm not playing. I said, that's okay, I'm ready.
Don't tell me he wasn't excited for that
game.
He
was. No, he
you
was.
know that he was.
Yeah. And there is Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator. And then now they want to do a little freeze. So they'll take a timeout. And, of course, John Elway and his offensive coordinator, Jim Fossil, go back a ways. In fact, to when John was a senior in high school.
Well, they go clear back to his living room there in Granada Hills when he was a high school senior. He tells the story, which I thought was very entertaining when he's recruiting him, that he and Rod Dowhauer have the champagne and come to the house and say, congratulations, you're going to Stanford. No, his response was, what do you mean?
He
hadn't made a decision yet. They thought he had.
And he said, and he looked to his mother, have you made a decision, Mom? No. His dad, no. We don't mean, oh, we don't mean. He says, now we're sitting there and the champagne's getting warm. Now what are we going to do? But, of course, he did make the decision. He did go to Stanford. And they were together. And what they're running now, they call it the West Coast offense or the Bill Walsh offense or the 49ers offense. You know, but it's all changed to your personnel. But it really goes back to the roots of it, to the offense that John Elway was running at Stanford.
It's a conglomerate of many offenses. You can put whatever moniker you want on it. It's a combination of a lot of different things.
In that case, I'll call it the Charlie offense. Here's Elway. He fires. It is right at the touchdown. As he simply drills this one to Cedric Tillman.
We mentioned earlier the fact that he come back with some touch. Well, he still has the gun. Look at this laser beam right in. That's actually pretty good coverage there on the part of the Jets, but there's nothing they can do with that ball. I'll tell you a true story. Charlie, I'm playing in a Pro Bowl with John Elway as we see the reactions of Jim Elway and Fossil, who came down in the field and for 58 seconds engineers that touchdown. Playing in a Pro Bowl practice game, and he throws me a hook pattern. I go up to catch the ball. It hits my shoulder pad. It sounds like a gunshot. The whole practice stops, and they look over and they say, there's only one guy that can throw that on it, and that's number 7.
And here is the extra point, and it is good. Elway now has completed 14 of 19 for 162 yards, no interceptions, and the touchdown pass, as the Broncos go up 13-6 over the New York Jets. And we have 27 seconds left to go in the first half.
Now, I want you to answer this question.
I'll be happy.
Why is it that throughout the first half they play some pretty solid defense, do a good job, hold them to field goals, and with 58 seconds in the half, they have the momentum of a field goal, and all of a sudden, you say 27 seconds. That took 31 seconds. 31 seconds that took to go all the way down the field. Why is that?
It's called magic. Elway.
What does a basketball player have to do with this?
Elway magic.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds well and good, but I just find it curious that you play so hard for all those minutes, and then the last minute of a half or last minute of the game, all of a sudden the defense acts like it's non-existent. Very strange.
It's fun, though, isn't it? They piece together a 72-yard touchdown drive in 31 seconds, and that's what you're talking about. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Lamps, Mike, and OJ. And they'll have all the scores and highlights, as well as Marcus Allen takes a look at the offseason, all the fun and games that happen. And here is Adrian Morrell on the return, and he is across the 25, and a flag is down, as he is also down around the 27 or 28-yard line. Lilo Lang was 49ers there for the Denver Broncos. And it will go against the return team. So you can cancel 20 yards on the return.
Illegal block in the back. Number 23, return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And so New York will go to work at their own 11-yard line. It was called on Marcus Turner. Now you have 22 seconds left, first half. You trail 13-6. You're at your own 11-yard line. You run out the clock?
Correct. Good call, mon ami.
Thank you very much. That's what they're going to do. Simply staying on the ground with Brad Baxter. And they'll take the count down as he goes out. Goes to the 20-yard line. Crowd not all that thrilled, but they will take the count all the way down. Simply to make it official. And at the half, the score, the Denver Broncos 13, the New York Jets 6. And we should have an exciting second half for you, but right now, let's go to Jim Lampley for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza, where you always get great pizza plus something for nothing.
And good afternoon. Welcome back to our NFL Live studio. We're going to take a moment now to get you up to date on scores and highlights from all around the league. Starting, of course, with the big activity in Tampa Bay, where Joe Montana returns to the scene of his back injury 7 years ago. But this is the second coming in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs early, and Joe Montana starts his career as though he has not missed a month.
I'm not surprised. You know, every time Joe has played, his last game with the 49ers, his preseason games, he's been very effective. What I'm concerned about is this team was such a running team. I thought they were boring last year. They've gone so completely the other way that at this point they're averaging less than 3 yards a rush. And I'm sure they're not concerned because they're winning the game. But if they're going to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to balance it up just a little bit.
Mike, you surprised by Montana at all?
Not at all, but I think what O.J.'s saying is true. But I think once the passing game takes effect like it is, I think they'll run the ball a little better. They're a better running team than they're running the ball today. But, I mean, he looks great. I mean, he looks like he didn't miss a beat.
All right, Joe Montana leaves behind, of course, the San Francisco 49ers. They're in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers aspiring toward another AFC Central championship, but the 49ers have jumped on them early, 17-3. Steve Young with 2 touchdown passes in the football game, both of them to Jerry Rice. Meanwhile, we take a look at what is happening in Buffalo, where the New England Patriots begin a new era with Bill Parcells coaching, Drew Bledsoe, the #1 draft pick, quarterbacking. And early in the game, Buffalo took advantage of a couple of breaks to get on top of New England. Bledsoe getting a not entirely accommodating introduction to the National Football League. Cornelius Bennett nails Bledsoe from behind early, a 5-yard loss. Welcome to the National Football League, as they say. The Patriots continue to make mistakes. Leonard Russell fumbling the football on the Buffalo 24. Cornelius Bennett picks it up here, and there he goes. Bennett headed toward the end zone and a possible touchdown, but he drops the football with no contact. And ultimately, it's Bennett who gets back on top of the football for the recovery, and that led to a Buffalo field goal. Kelly finds former Colt Bill Brooks in the corner of the end zone. First catches a Bill. That makes it 10-0 Bills, but then Bledsoe brings the Patriots back, finding Ben Coates alone in the left flat on a 4th and 1 decision for Parcells. Coates breaks a tackle by Nate Odoms and goes 54 yards for the touchdown that has made it, for the moment, 17 Buffalo, 7 New England. Looking at scores of other games from around the league, we turn our attention to the Rams and the Green Bay Packers. 19-6 Packers at halftime. Brett Favre has a long touchdown pass to Sterling Sharp in that football game. Elsewhere, you have the Denver Broncos 13-6 ahead of the Jets. Elway has 1 touchdown pass in that football game. Jets are struggling offensively, although Blair Thomas has had some good moments running the football for New York. Also taking place right now, you have the Phoenix Cardinals playing at Philadelphia and trailing the Eagles 14-0 in the second quarter. Rich Kotite's team off to a good start. The Cardinals not yet getting started. Miami Dolphins 10-7 leaders over the Indianapolis Colts in the second quarter. We showed you the 40-yard Dan Marino touchdown pass to Keith Jackson in that football game, 291st of Marino's career, breaking a tie with John Unitas to move him into second place in that category all time. and Fran Tarkenton had 342. He's the leader. Detroit Lions all over Atlanta Falcons, 24-0 in the second quarter. The Lions got it started with a 26-yard touchdown run for Barry Sanders and have been rolling against Jerry Glanville's team. It's 24-0 in the second as Wayne Fonts and the Lions try to make a big comeback. And finally, Cincinnati, successful mostly against Cleveland in recent years, 14-7 leaders in the second quarter. David Klingler with a touchdown pass in that football game. That's a look at scores and highlights up to this moment. When we come back, we'll have a look at the other former Super Bowl most valuable player who has opted for the Chiefs this year, Marcus Allen.
Back over the past 20 years, I was playing for the Los Angeles Rams, and I brought you one of the first NFL United Way public service spots in what has come to be the largest and longest-running series of its kind in television history. Over the years, the National Football League teams, players, and owners have brought you the stories of how United Way works in your community to help people who really needed your help.
A lot of things have changed in this country, but not the character of the people who made this country great. And that's what United Way is all about. A simple, honest, and organized way to help one another. United Way preserves the best traditions of caring that have made this country great. With volunteer leadership, United Way is changing so that we can all have hopes and dreams for a better tomorrow.
United Way, helping where help is needed most.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Tuesday, Broncos.
This is the